Hi all, welcome back to another thrilling episode of Cooking in Isolation. This is our Cooking Around the World series, our cooking group at Iramu Community Centre. Today we're going to do a nice simple little snacky lunchtime style pastry dish. This is called a vegetable galette. A galette just being a pastry based dish. This is almost like this one's like a pizza, but just using a pastry base. Using a pastry base instead of a bread base. Now, this is actually going to be an amalgamation of two different recipes that I was working on. One was a ham and cheese, or ham and Gruyere cheese galette, and the other was a vegetable galette. And instead of doing two separate ones, I thought, let's do them all together. And that way, there's no fighting at the dinner table. People who want the ham one can have the ham, you know that old story. The ham and pineapple. I'm not putting pineapple on this one, folks. So this is a really quick recipe. And whilst we're working with a bit of pastry here, I thought we just had to have a little extra special tag on the side of this one. So let's just start. We have some puff pastries. This is just good old simple Pampas puff pastry. You can use the generic if you wish. This is all that was available at my supermarket. I've let it thaw slightly, so it's just starting to become pliable now. That's all we need to do. It's just a little bit the square was too big to fit in our tray, so I've cut the edge off, and we'll fight over that puffed little piece of pastry later when we cook it. What we start with here is just tomato paste. You can use the pizza style paste if you wish, but it's just nice and simple. Something like that. And what we'll do is spread this around. Now you leave a little border. Just make sure you leave about 2 centimetres or so a border. And you'll see why when we bring this out of the oven. A little border around the edge. Something like that. You can put a little bit more in if you wish, but we won't worry about that now. There we go. Now, we want some onion wedges. You can use brown onion, red onion. I'm going to use a red onion because they just come up a little bit sweeter when they're roasted. Roasted red onions are absolutely beautiful. Just thin wedges. Break them up, spread them around the tomato base. Doesn't matter if some of these are showing to the open air. When these get nicely browned in the oven, they just have the best caramelised flavour. And this is what the whole flavour of this dish is really. The other bits are nice. In the recipe you'll see they've used sweet potato and things like that. We're not going to go that far today. We're just going to make it nice and simple. So there's some red onion down. Now I'm going to put a bit of mushroom. And it's not really a favourite of some of ours here. Not naming names.
Me?
We'll just put it on half of it, eh?
Yeah, half.
So we're not going the whole way. See, there's that bit over there. You're going to have some vegetable one and some ham one, or just the ham and cheese?
Ham and cheese would be lovely.
You don't want the vegetable one at all?
No, put it all on.
Okay.
Put the mushrooms on.
Mushrooms are going all that way. And this side over here will be the ham side.
All right.
Now we don't want any fighting today.
No, not today.
Now we just get this is shaved ham. We'll just put little clumps like that. Just remembering to leave our little border on the edge here. Little clumps of ham. There we go. Over on the veggie side, let's add a few little pieces of. You're lucky you're not going here now, eh, Dad? Keep away from this evil stuff. Put some tomatoes.
Capsicum.
Hey, you do?
Yeah.
Oh my Lord, you want some capsicum on our side?
Yeah.
Your side? This could be your side.
My side.
See, this is like making a pizza at home. You can chuck on
Whatever you want.
whatever you wish. Now I'm going to get a little bit fancy here. Instead of I'm going to add some zucchini. Now you'll be really glad you're not going that side. And just get the vegetable peeler and we'll cut some ribbons.
Fancy.
Push in as deeply as you can, so not too thin. Just look at that. centimetre if you're, oh, sorry, centimetre, a millimetre if you're lucky, probably not even a millimetre thick. Then we'll just make little rounds of it here. Bit too fancy, Deb?
Very fancy, Jeff.
Bit above our pay grade here at Hero. No, not at all.
No,
we're all in
fancy.
For the gourmet. You could do this. Gourmet. We could, well, let's use that first one. That was. You could do the same thing with a few shards, let's call them. A few shards. It's not going to stay there, is it? Of carrot. As usual, we just chuck anything on that you so wish. And if they're sitting up like those edges are going to get nice and browned in the oven. What I'm going to do is just give it a tiny little sprinkle using a pinch of stock powder. The recipe actually calls for vegetable stock, but who has vegetable?
Who does vegetables?
Who does vegetables, exactly. Our cooking group is genuinely very, very healthy.
Very meaty.
You're undermining this, aren't you? Now,
Never.
just a little sprinkle. You don't have to go too crazy with the cheese.
Oh, a bit more crazier.
Oh, yeah. You'll see when it melts, it just becomes a solid block over the top, which is fantastic. That's how I like it. Yeah, if you're going to melt cheese,
May as well.
just do it. What I'm going to do here is, you can use egg wash if you want. I'm just going to do a little wipe of milk over the edges of this, just to help glaze it and help it rise. There's a little bit of leftover pastry. Don't let it go. Somewhere in the family will always jump on the extra bit of pastry. I've already eaten a couple this one. Now that's all it is. Well, cracked pepper, because yeah, have that cracked pepper and everything. Voila, that's all it is. It takes a few minutes to do. Now, here's something that I whipped up just before we started rolling. I just sliced up some apple, chucked it into a mix with some brown sugar, a bit of melted butter, brown sugar and cinnamon. Just a little dash of cinnamon, just to give it all a bit of flavour. Once again, put it over a piece of thawed puff pastry. You could use for this one, for the sweet one, you could also use short crust pastry, which would be also very good. Now what I'm going to do, just to take this a little bit further, we're going to just bring this over the edge like this. Now we get very, very European. This is called a galette, which is obviously a French word. It's just basically spiced apple pastry thing, this would be. I just thought we'd do this just to use up a bit more of our pastry. And what I'm going to do, with our little bit of milk wash again, or egg wash if you're using it, just dab that over the pastry bits. Oops, sorry about that. Does that need any more explanation than that, Deb?
No.
I will put a, this one doesn't have a recipe because it's just made up, but I will put a little note on the recipe page for this when it goes online. And this is the real nasty bit. Just sprinkle a little bit extra brown sugar on the edge of the pastry. We've just sprinkled that milk onto it, brush the milk on. And that just makes it a little bit nastier when we get to it later. Imagine this, Deb, with a bit of custard, bit of ice cream, bit of custard.
Yep.
Sorry, am I killing you?
Yep. Again.
Now, how difficult was that? What, about 10 minutes worth, Deb? I know, a little bit of slicing and those things. Don't forget, give your pastry a bit of a chance just to thaw a little bit, just to make it workable. Otherwise, if you try and do it while it's frozen, it'll snap these things and it's wasted. In the oven with these things, and we're all going. Don't look at that, Deb. Yeah, look at that.
Oh, magic.
Somehow that one shrunk a little bit.
It did.
But that's sort of what we get when we come to the fun part of this. Here's our vegetable galette. Just cook it till it's about 20 minutes it takes. You want it to be cooked on the pastry to be cooked on the bottom. You don't want raw pastry. You can see by the edges of this. That's why you leave that little centimetre or so border around the edge of the pastry, because it puffs up like that. Isn't that beautiful?
Beautiful.
Our little ham and cheese side for the ham and cheese lovers.
Me.
Vegetables for the...
You.
Don't feel like that. So for the veggies. Serve it with a little bit of salad, what we're going to do right here. Nice crispy pastry, yum. Oh, let's not be tight about this. Look at that. There we go. There's a nice little lunch for you, Deb. Over here, I'll take this one. Oh, a little bit of crystallised sugar on the side of that. Yum. There we go. Our vegetable galette, in this case, vegetable galette on one side, ham and cheese on the other, served with a nice little salad. Very nice little light lunch. Pastry looks good for you. A light lunch, or we actually had it for dinner the other night. Fine. And there's your dessert. How can blob of ice cream, a spoonful of custard, probably a bit of both. I would advocate.
Yep. I agree.
There we are. Simple, really fast dishes to do, and makes everyone happy. Thanks very much. See you next time.